All right, hello once again. Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and as part of the Rankin Technical College EWD 1000 Web Development Technologies class, I've decided to go through this series of videos that have been put out, not videos, I should say, this presentation that's been put out by Mozilla.org on learning web development. And so far in this getting started with the web part of it, I have gone through installing basic software. What will your website look like in dealing with files? Which brings us to right here, talking about HTML basics. Now again, these are the basics, so don't worry if, first of all, if it seems like there's a lot to go over, or if it all doesn't make sense, because we will be going through all of this stuff. This is a big portion of what the class is about. Again, as mentioned there, HTML is an acronym that stands for Hypertext Markup Language. It allows us to structure our web page. It's the content that we put on the page. There's been all sorts of debate over time as to whether HTML is a programming language. It's really a markup language. You don't do programming in HTML. So to me, no, it's not a programming language. It is a markup language. It is a tag-based language, meaning that virtually everything that we put in will go inside of tags. So this would be the beginning and an ending paragraph tag. You can see that the beginning and ending tags look the same, except the beginning one has got a less than sign, P greater than sign, and the ending tag has a less than sign, a forward slash, a P, and a greater than sign. Most HTML tags, not all, but most HTML tags have a beginning tag and they have an ending tag. Not all do. Now they give you the anatomy of the tag down here, and I don't want to read to you. I don't want to insult your intelligence, but as it says, this is the opening, that's the closing. What goes between there is the content. All right, so this is an example of the usage of a paragraph element. Okay. Now, once we get into this, we will add other things to it. Notice here we're adding a class. We can add classes, IDs, and a lot of other stuff. All right, but this is what's known as an attribute. And it's, so that the attribute is class, and the value of the attribute is, in this case, editor-note. All right, and they go through some rules and some other stuff in here, and it's not that it's unimportant, of course not, it's very important, but I'm more concerned with us just going through some of the basics that are in here right now. All right, now it's possible for you to put an element within an element. So here's a paragraph, opening and close, and then within this paragraph, the word vary is inside of what are called strong tags. Now, back in the olden days, like in the 90s, 1990s, so 20, 30 years ago, maybe not even that long ago, you didn't see this strong tag used. You saw a B tag, B for bold, and that's pretty much what the strong tag does. Now, the difference is the strong tag is designed to work with all types of browsers, including, for example, browsers for the blind. So it'll know that it should put more emphasis on, in this case, the word vary. Let's just grab this particular line that's right here. I'm just going to grab it. I'm going to copy it to the clipboard. I'm going to go back to what we had in here, and I'm going to put in a new paragraph at the top. And I'm just going to paste that in. So it says, my cat is very grumpy. I don't have a cat, but you'll get the idea. So this is on my contact page. In fact, let's move it. Oh, I've got two. Oh, I don't know how I did that, but I did. Let's go back to our home page here, which is our index page. We'll put it in there. Now, somehow I've got two P tags, which I shouldn't, but that was on me. So now they're gone, and I have just one. Okay? So notice what it'll say here. My cat is very, and I don't have a cat, but I do have a dog. So I'll say my dog is very grumpy. All right? And now if I go back to where I was running this, where is it? There it is. And I go back to my home page. There is my cat. My dog is very grumpy. You may or may not be able to tell on here, but the word very is bolded. All right. And years ago, the strong tag again replaced the B tag because it is designed to work with all browsers, including, as mentioned, like a browser for the blind. All right. Now, can you still use a B tag? I mean, will this work if I change this to a B tag? Well, they have to the tags have to match. So let's just see. All right, I'm going to save it. I'm going to go back, and in just a second, I'll refresh the browser. All right, so where are we here? We are here. Now, does this look any different after I refresh? The answer is no. You can still use the B tag, but it's recommended that you do not use the B tag in any new web development. The B tag has been what's called deprecated, all right, which means, for lack of better words, designated that at some time, possibly in the future, it won't be around anymore. Now, that said, it's used probably in millions, if not billions, of places on different websites throughout the world. It's not going to go away. But the idea is that it should be replaced with a strong tag, which means that's a little more typing that you have to do. All right. Okay, when you put them in here, notice we've got inner tags and we've got outer tags. You shouldn't do it like this. Here we've got an inner tag and an inner tag, but we haven't nested the tags, so to speak. All right, they have to open and close correctly. Now, that might actually work if we do this. So let's grab this one. All right. And let's put this, we'll put this sentence in here as well. So I've got my dog is very grumpy, but let's put underneath that, my cat is very grumpy. All right, so save that. Let's go back here and let's run this again. And you'll notice very grumpy is working. All right, it's working in that it did take these and bold them or make them strong as far as their look. But you shouldn't do that. And later, when we talk about when you want to go in and you want to do what's called validate your page, you're going to have problems with the validation. So that one actually should have looked like this if we wanted to take all those words like that and put very grumpy and make them. Okay, so if I do this and I go back again, it's not going to look any different when I refresh, but it is now syntactically correct. All right, okay. You can have what are called empty elements. It says some elements have no content and are called empty elements. Well, let's look at this example, but in order to do this, let's make this where we're going to actually start making some changes to our website so that it looks, for lack of better words, a little bit nicer. All right, so what do I mean? Much easier to show you. I'm going to go back into here, and this is my home page, and I'm going to get rid of that, my cat and my dog. In fact, I'm going to keep one of my paragraphs in here. And now I'm going to come in, and I went out to one of those sites that were out there, and where is it? I went into unsplash.com and I typed in Missouri, and this is what it came up with. Now, what most people associate with Missouri is the arch. So I'm going to click on this. All right, and I'm going to click that. Oh, it did give me a download. I didn't want that. So it's going to say here, download. And what size do I want to use for downloading it? And it says that I can use a small, a medium, or a large, and you can see how big the original one was. All right, I'm going to use the medium. I don't know if it matters or not, but I'm going to use the medium one. And my clock is going off again, so give me a second here. Now, a couple things about this. This is the picture that's going to appear in a minute. but it says say thanks. So I'm going to actually grab this photo by Brittany Butler on Unsplash. I'm going to copy that to the clipboard. Okay, you'll see what I mean in just a second. All right, I think this is the one I want. Yep, it is. So this is the picture. I'm going to do a right mouse click, and I'm going to choose a Save As, and go back to my desktop. Here's my I Love Mo. There's my images. I can call it whatever I want. I'm just going to call it arch.jpg. And don't worry about what JPG means, but it's saving a copy right now. Now, what I want to do is I want to go back into my document here, and I'm going to put in here image, img, source equals images slash, and there's arch.jpg, and alt equals, and now I'm going to put that photo by her on Unsplash. All right. Now, I'm going to put this over 2 lines just so you can see all of it. Okay. What did I change? How does this look different? Again, as always, it's easiest to show you. All right. So, and when I go back into my program run, it doesn't look any different until I refresh. And now it looks a lot different. Now I've got this picture. All right. Maybe at least a little bit starting to look more like a, quote, real website, unquote. Now notice I made it, it's pretty big. We could have made it smaller if we wanted to, but I'm just going to leave it at that size right now. What we did in order to be able to do this is we let the system know that we wanted to put in an image. The source, or the image itself, lived in the images folder, and it was called arch.jpg. Now, when you start to work with images, there's going to be 3, 4 or 5 different kinds of images you'll work with. There'll be JPEGs like this, which I think is Joint Photographic Group or something like that, which work really nicely. All right, with documents like this that look pretty nice. There's a ping.png, which is Portable Network Graphics, I believe. There's a BMP, which is bitmap. And there's also a newer one that's called WebP, which is Google's entry into the world of this. But what we're saying is we want to put into our document something that lives in our images folder and it's got this name. If for some reason the file didn't exist, or if this is somebody with a browser for the blind, they're going to see this. Photo by Brittany Butler on Unsplash. And I'm going to change this to photo of St. Louis Arch by Brittany Butler on Unsplash. So I'm going to purposely put a mistake in here. I'm going to put in arches. We don't have a file named arches. All right, so why would I do that? So I can run the program again and now show you, because this picture is going to be gone in just a second when I refresh. All right, but notice it says photo of St. Louis Arch by Brittany Butler on Unsplash. So that line that I put in there, that said alt equals, it's alternative text. So if either the file doesn't exist, all right, or I've given it a wrong path, or I've given it a wrong name, or as mentioned, if it's a browser for the blind, that's what's going to appear, or in the case of the browser for the blind, that's what they'll hear. Now, all I have to do to fix that is to go back into my document and remove that S, save it, go back into here and refresh, and it's back. All right. So again, I'm not trying to wow you or anything. I'm just trying to show you kind of the steps that we would go through in order to be able to do this. All right, and trying to kind of keep in lockstep with what's in here. Now, anatomy of an HTML element. They do a great job in here of explaining all this stuff. and you can see it right here too. The first line that you see in here is what's called the doc type or document type designation. Now, up until HTML5, and really 5 or 5.1 or whatever is the current version of HTML, you had to put a lot more stuff in here. And if you're using an older version of HTML, you still do. But for HTML5 and above, this is all you need. Sometimes you'll see the word doc type in uppercase, like is shown here. Sometimes you'll see the word doc type in lowercase, which is not shown here. And sometimes it'll be in title case, meaning that the D is capitalized. The OCTYPE will be in lowercase. It really doesn't matter. All right, that's what they have here. So what that is, that line, what do you need that for? All right, it's letting the system know the type of document that we're working with is an HTML5 document. If we leave that line out and later we attempt to go in and do what is called validate that document, we'll either get a warning or an error message. Now, HTML is a tag-based language, so this is our beginning HTML tag. This is our ending HTML tag. All right, so all of the content for our web page is wrapped within those two. They look the same, except the ending one has a slash before the HTML. HTML is made up of two other kinds of tags. Those are head tags and body tags. The head tags are everything that does not directly appear on the web page itself. So we've got two things here. One is the title, and again, that's what appears up here. I already showed that to you before. So for our I Love Mo, again, that's what said I Love Mo/home. So what will appear here will be my test page. The other one is what's called a meta tag. Meta is short for data. So a meta tag is data about data. This says that the character set that we're going to use is UTF-8. All right. And what that means is we are using what is referred to as the Unicode character set. Do you have to remember that? No. But back in the olden days, again, probably 20, 30 or more years ago, we didn't use the Unicode character set. We used what was called the ASCII character set, the American Standard Code for Information Interchange. What's the difference? It had 256 different characters, all the characters on your keyboard and other characters like a cent sign for like 37 cents. Things like the old divide symbol like we learned in school with a line and a dot above it and a dot below it, etc. The problem is once this stuff started to become not just nationalized but internationalized, we had to worry about other languages, Chinese, Japanese, etc. So we went to the Unicode character set, which allows for, I don't know how many, but the last I heard it was over 100,000 different characters. All right. Then in our body tag, so again, head starts, notice the beginning and the head look the same, except the ending head tag has got a slash before the word head. Body tag is what appears on the page. I just showed you something very similar to this, and I went through what the image did. We've also put some paragraph stuff in ours. So I showed you how to put an image out there on the system, and I showed you the alt tag, etc. If you want more about accessibility, you can go and take a look here. Now, I'm going to stop right here and make this a two-parter, and we'll go over the marking up text starting in just a couple minutes.